Let's just let that sink in for a second. The architecture of a digital prison requires only that the prisoner cannot imagine the walls. You see, it's not about physical bars or concrete cells. It's about the prison we can't see, the one whose walls are the limits of our own imagination. And that single idea, well, it sets the stage for everything we're about to get into.
So yeah, today we're decoding The Matrix. But let's be clear, this isn't just another film breakdown. We're looking at something that feels less like a sci-fi flick from 25 years ago and a whole lot more like a user manual for the world we are living in right now.
So why does this movie matter so much more today than it did back in '99? Well, think about it. The world it imagined, it's not science fiction anymore, is it? We've got AI, deepfakes, algorithms deciding what you see, what you believe. That's not some far-off future. That's just Tuesday. It is the invisible architecture of our daily lives.
And that right there, that is the whole game. Back in 1999, we were watching The Matrix like it was a warning sign off in the distance. But now we have to ask that really uncomfortable question. Are we already plugged in? The stakes have just completely changed. To really understand how deep this rabbit hole goes, we need to talk about the film's secret language. Because the creators, the Wachowskis, were absolutely meticulous. Nothing is an accident. Every name, every color, every single line of dialogue, it's all intentional. It is all part of a code.
And the key that unlocks all of it is this concept called symbolic reduction code. Now, it sounds complicated, but the idea is actually pretty straightforward. Imagine taking the entire library of human history, all our philosophy, our religions, our myths, and crushing it all down, compressing it into these tiny, potent symbols. That's what the movie does. And that's the tool we're going to use to crack this thing wide open. All right, let's start with the man himself, Neo. Or should I say Thomas Anderson, because his name is the perfect first example of this code in action. His slave name in The Matrix, right? Thomas Anderson. Thomas is the doubting apostle. Anderson literally means son of man. Put him together, he's the doubting son of man, a skeptical savior. But then his real name? Neo. It means new, and of course it's an anagram for the one. His entire destiny is baked right into his name before he even takes the red pill. And what about his guide Morpheus? His name comes from the Greek god of, what? Dreams. But what is his entire mission in the movie? To wake people up from a dream. It's this beautiful, perfect irony, isn't it? The guy offering you the cure, the truth, is named after the drug, the illusion. Look, we could sit here and break down these symbols all day, and it's absolutely fascinating. But that's not the real point. Here's where it all pivots. Here's the question that changes everything. What if The Matrix isn't just a clever story? What if it's a blueprint for real-world systems of control that have always been with us?
And that question, it takes us somewhere completely different. We're going to jump from science fiction to a harsh reality. 1970s Rhodesia, a place where a brutal system of control wasn't a movie plot, it was the law. A real-world matrix, built on a social code that was as arbitrary as it was cruel.
In this system, there was a buffer class known as the colored community. But even within that group, there was its own internal matrix, its own brutal social code. It was called the color bar, a hierarchy based purely on your shade of skin. At the very top, you had the proper coloreds, who had the perfect shade. Below them, the dark coloreds, seen as too African. And way at the bottom were the light coloreds, the so-called play whites, seen as weak outcasts. It was an insidious system designed to make people police each other. And the author of this story was born right into the bottom of that system. He was, in his own words, the glitch, the anomaly, the variable that broke the social code just by existing. Think about that. He was a real-world Neo, an error in a system that demanded perfect conformity. So, how does a glitch survive in a system that's designed to reject you? How do you navigate a world that wants you to disappear? You do what Neo did. You learn to see the code. And then you learn how to hack it.
His first big lesson came when he was just 4 years old. A minor nerve condition, probably from malnutrition, made his hands shake. He couldn't even do the simplest exercise in school, trace a line. While all the other kids drew these smooth, perfect curves, his looked like an earthquake on paper. He felt defective, betrayed by his own body.
But right there, in that moment of physical failure, something clicked. The teacher asked the class to count, and he didn't just count to 10, he went all the way to 100. And that's when he had his awakening. He realized that while his hand might shake, his mind was a fortress. Numbers were solid. Numbers didn't tremble.
He couldn't control the pencil, but he could master the code.
Okay, let's pull all of this back to today. We've seen the code in the film, we've seen a brutal, real-world version of it in history. So the big question is, how does this same architecture of control show up right now in our digital lives?
Remember Agent Smith, the anonymous program whose only job was to enforce the rules of the Matrix? So who's today's enforcer? It's the algorithm. It's invisible, it's self-optimizing, and its job is to enforce a specific version of reality on our screens. The one that keeps us engaged, keeps us scrolling, keeps us plugged in. It's Agent Smith, just without the suit and sunglasses.
I mean, when you really look at it this way, social media functions almost exactly like the Matrix. It builds a custom-made reality just for you, designed to keep you hooked. What does it run on? Our attention. It literally harvests our attention as its energy source. We are the batteries. It creates these perfect little echo chambers, just reflecting our own beliefs back at us. And if something pops up that contradicts the preferred narrative, well, it can quietly suppress it, send in the agents. We are living inside a system designed for control.
And here's the thing, the movie never gives us a neat, tidy answer. It doesn't solve the problem for us. What it does is present a choice. Waking up, seeing the code for what it is, that's not the finish line. That's just the beginning.
And so we're left right where Neo left everyone at the end of the film, with his final words, a promise to show us a world without rules and controls, a world where anything is possible. But that final, most important step, the one that defines everything, well, that choice is left to us.